Welcome back to my lovely HP community and the 5D Collective. As we close on out, I wanted to touch upon a bit of a note for our true lovers and life partners who love to laugh and love to love. So, when you are internally securely attached, 1 year old, or you're getting there, okay, so you own your sense of self, you own your solo self, and you want to build those genuine relationships we looked at in our previous episode, you have a funny bone and your love language is with your eternal child and the essence of your adolescence. And that's where bilateral and vertical integration take place. So you are able to use the thoughts and emotions and share them. Okay, and this is what makes a true lover and life partner is that they don't do a 360 on you because they're emotionally available. As I have been telling you, don't waste your time with people who disregard healing their trauma or noticing their maladaptive patterns of behavior and or adaptive child patterns of behavior. People who take ownership, they don't have to be necessarily a therapist. They will take ownership because they'll notice their nervous system and they'll notice their mood, and then they'll notice what's happening with the relationship, and they will look to keep the lines of communication from the heart and the self and the body open. Okay, so they won't shy away and detract. No, they're going to come in if there are splinters or ruptures that have taken place and amend them to ensure the consistent expansion and flow state of the relational self field that you are doing and creating as two non-differentiated selves. Me plus we equals me. Dr. Dennis Siegel would talk about that one. I learned from him about that one. Okay, so the 5D Collective are people who have this capacity and desire to be self-aware, accountable, regulating as a differentiated self and share a life of meaning and connection beyond the soul self, true spirituality. So your spirituality process or spiritual process, your awakening happens because your child parts are all fast asleep and you're now using your higher self. So you're now a complete conduit. I call it the 5D body type. So you're learning how to just engage with an empowered nervous system, and you're not afraid of being rejected. You're not afraid of abandonment. There's no childhood fear going on. Again, if there's anything that's still being worked on, it's with a therapist and then with the person, the life partner, and that's the one or the ones, depends what dynamic you have. If you're a monoamorous, monogamous person or a polyamorous, and there's different dynamics there. Not all are polygamists. The solo poly is where I love that group because relationship anarchy and non-hierarchical are what lead us, but also we're not couple-centric focused, and we develop dynamics depending on circumstances, but also between platonic and not. It's very beautiful. Well, for me, at least, because I also have my lovely oversoul. So my twin flames, my soulmates. Okay, so this is the part of where it involves more when you are the empowered feminine of your oversoul, for at least the ones of us who are, because we have so much of how can I explain it? Well, it's personal. That's what. It's personal. It's not just energy. It's not just something like the scientists. They'll look at the relational field, right? They'll look at the hard problem of consciousness, the quantum field. We have the spiritual aspect. So for the mystics that are empowered feminines, these are not just stories. We don't, though, impersonate our ancestors or use narratives. We don't become, dress ups. So when I saw that, they have the fourth wave of twin flames, I'm like, okay, that's identifying. You're identifying with this word, like the flat earthers identify with each other. Okay, and so with that, our true lovers, they're people who have some younger, some older. Not everyone has to have had who knows what take place, but the reality is they know the depths of the emotional plane and they love sharing that with another person. So they're not afraid to feel. That's the reason why we love and laugh and have a good time. And so we also love to have really passionate, intellectually opposing opportunities because we have intellectually, emotionally mature men, women, days who don't take offense if they are on opposite perspectives, politics, religion, philosophy, you name it. Okay, the joy and the enriching experience of any genuine relationship friendships included, is being able to have that. And that's what we're building as we move forward together here at IHP. Getting comfortable speaking our own truth with integrity and equanimity is really easy for the mindfully and spiritually living person, because mindfulness practices, mindset, and mindset allow you to continue to engage. If I'm engaging with you as I'm getting in my nervous system, but you're a safe connection for me, so genuine relationship, I'm continuing to stay open-hearted, and I'm sharing how I'm feeling. I'm not going to hold back if I get emotional. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not ashamed of that. Okay. There's no shaming. There's no Diego family. And if even there were, it's, hey, what is that? Okay, that's not the way that I want to be addressed. And the person and people who are healthy self-worth are receptive to that, because we're receptive to each other's love language. We may not agree, but we'll be receptive to hearing, and we'll be receptive to the cues. And then, again, there's nothing hard of emotions or thoughts for the 5D collective, because we have our internally securely attached solo self. And so the solo self, with a sense of self, you're the flag and flag post. And because of self-awareness, accountability, and regulation, you'll know if you brought into the room a Cusco. You'll know if you brought into the room a lie. You'll know if you brought into the room a spiteful thing. You'll know, and you'll address it, and you will not bring it again. This is that whole repenting for the sins. True repentment is a word, take it out of the whole ancient stuff and bring it into the picture of people. If I am really sorry, it means that I'll apologize through a conversation, interaction, and then I won't repeat it again, because I'll remember that which we discussed, because it will have been mentally involving, thoughts, and emotionally involving, and it will be something we take seriously and we appreciate. That's why my facade friend, I used him as that example, because he's the opposite of what I just described. I love my friend to death, but the opposite, because I had a very heart to soul conversation with him, and it was not present in any place, shape, or form. He's not the only facade friend that I have that this has taken place with. So the reason why I thank him, though, is because once you have one experience with a genuine relationship where you're like, what the fuck? And FYI, now that I'm attachment trauma informed, I already know it's not anybody's choice. They're a 0-8-year-old. If they go to therapy, they'll become a person. And until then, I just got a kid in the room that's playing out their own stuff. I'm not going to hold it against them. I'm going to know even more why the Jesus forgive them for they do not know counts. Stephen Porges, biological rudeness. They don't know shit. They're just in their threat response. So it's not personal. When you're with people who are true lovers and life partners, this is not what happens. That's my point. What happens is I'm getting to be completely open-hearted with my soul, vulnerable, and you're going to ensure that I realize, and I'm going to ensure that you realize, that this is a safe space. And then those relationships, so genuine relationships overall, this is what happens. And so you're creating a life partnership with romance and with true love. That is why there's only laughter and love, because there's genuine love, which means compersion, which means you're not afraid of the secure attachment, because the reality is you want each other's smiles, fulfillment. You're not attached to them with an outcome of you must be here, and you're not closing them up in a box, really, is what I should say. You love them. So you want to see that they smile every day more. Love is this. You want to see them independently fly as they grow more smiling. That's what love is, with an independent inner world. If, on the other hand, and that's why I said there's the relationship, so age group, and then we have our 3D40, and just people who need to cling on to each other, there's a sense of fear in losing. That's the mammalian heritage that the 0-1-year-old has. And it won't be the polyamory community that supports you getting to wholeness. This is my personal opinion, and I know that Jessica Fern, in her book, she has a different opinion. She thinks that that will create the opportunity to empower one's inner securement, because you get the opportunity to be challenged. But when I hear people saying you're not poly enough, that sounds like peer pressure and teenager attitude, and it's not something that actively makes me think that, yeah, a person is going to learn from that. The reality is also you don't learn from others You choose. You're going to choose if you want to get that 0 1 year old internally securely attached with all the information that's out there. And as Robert Sapolsky points out, though, we don't have free will, because those first 3 years will be very important. And if you don't even acknowledge that, that's why we got the fancy man and woman suit. Okay, so there's a lot of arenas to look at when we I have a consilience approach to any topic and every topic. And I know that I don't always use it correctly, but I bring to neuroscience, neurobiology, the mental health stuff, the mystic stuff, the God stuff, you name it. It's all in here. But as the basic foundation, it's either you're navigating life with your social engagement system or you're doing threat. I'm going to know which one it is, because if you laugh and love more, then you're good. You're learning how to be yourself. That's awesome. Be yourself with integrity and your flaws, and you're open-hearted. So you're enjoying aliveness. Threat response, they're not doing any of this. They are actively right now stagnating. And the more the 5D frequency, because it's all that there is now, the more of their fears that's what's coming up. Their fears aren't physical. No, it's an insecure. It's like the Zen master with his laundry. That's a fear. He doesn't know how to do sadness in his prefrontal cortex. It's a depth of emotional upset. And the biochemistry fears because he's in his limbic system. Okay, so it's explainable with how our body works with our brain. So fear and shame are people who don't own their inner world, and therefore they're not their whole self yet. They're a pause self, which is why they look forward to seeing the 4D mystics give predictions, and they look at all of that. Again, let me put that aside. I was just giving you some other examples, but in conclusion, when you have true lovers and life partners, it's people who love and laugh together, because I love to love, and my baby, he loves to dance, and he loves to learn, and he loves to expand and not cast stones. It's a smart human being. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable. Bilateral, vertical integration. They have the desire to be their integrated brain, restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, because they can regulate their sense of self and felt sense, because the data is very clear on your first 3 years of life mattering. The data is very clear on those first 8 years. Anyone who disregards all the good mental health information is disregarding taking their life into their hands. The smartest ones, I'm going to tell you this, they're taking it and they're applying it, and they're getting somewhere, because that's also what I know, is that people who do hear information, whether they like it or not, they're going to be able to say, okay, I do know when Cusco comes up. Shit, okay. I'm going to notice how to handle this one. And because there's plenty of healthy self-worth, empowered people around, if they're bound to meet one of them, that's who they're going to be able to get out of that Cusco pattern behavior, thanks to Pacha not taking his shake hand and going back on his word, but instead knowing it's okay, Cusco, we're all imperfect and flawed. I shook a hand, and that's what true one lovers. It's not meaning that you have to stay together forever, no, but it's meaning that when you're coming into relationship, this is an internally securely attached person. You're not getting into relationship with any type of confusion or fear, and the age doesn't matter. So when I think of people, I think of, for me, a month after my teenage boyfriend had broken up, I was like, thank goodness, this is the most amazing thing that happened to me, because of realizing how many better suitors and men there were out there. Not that he wasn't good, but, I'm growing up and I'm meeting people who know how to court me and how to do things that he never did. And then I'm like, well, we were kids, so, it makes sense. We were comfortable, okay? And then I got into my other relationships. And then I got into twin flames. And at that point, though, with the twin flames, I'm already on a roll with my career and everything I'm doing. So I'm having a good time, because that's the other part about an oversoul. They're your oversoul. Powered feminine doesn't have questions of what they're going to bring to us. We know they're going to bring to us badass shit. So are soulmates. So the minute that you are completely empowered as a feminine with your clairs, you're not questioning. Again, God doesn't send me shit that I'm not going to be able to handle, and I'm not being tested. So empowered individuals don't get this testing thing, because there's no self-shame in here. I'm a self. I'm doing the best I can. I have a direct relationship. I'm not a fool for those 7 to 14 charming who are not fooling the insecurely attached person. No, the insecurely attached person is not going to therapy to claim their inner world so that they can stop being a little flag that is following the next Peter Pan, because the Peter Pan is talking the adaptive child language that they talk. So the 30s, okay? So now I'm in my 30s. For me, I kept moving forward happily, and I saw other women and men not so happy, okay? And so I'm giving the age for a minute for a reason, because when I look at my friends and people who have been together since their young years, they're completely, like those power couples that you see. It's hard work, and they have to do this, and they're not always, so they have that. And some people will crap on it. I don't crap on it. It's what it is. It's their thing. If they're happy, right? But for those of us who got the opportunity to continue empowering and becoming more of our true self, it's amazing, because you speak more and more as who you are. So whatever it is you will build, it will be something good. But again, the minute you see emotionally unavailable men or women or days, ciao ciao, you're out. There's nothing that you need to negotiate. It will be something that creates a distancing, and it creates a very clear disconnect. And so that's, as you get older, you're not whining about that if you are internally securely attached. You're going to simply thank the experience and know that it's not your problem or situation if somebody doesn't have emotional availability, that they can choose to go heal that. You're not going to crap on them. Insecurely attached people, they're all over those narratives, the human suffering ones. Oh, you can't love, you can't find, da, 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 da. Like that woman who's like, I told him I give you 80%. Okay, why? Why would you tell him that? I mean, I would be like, okay, then you know what? Let's not do anything, because you're already coming in with it's a lot. It's going to not end well. In fact, when I've heard people say love doesn't end well, and then I see them in romantic relationships, I'm like, why are you in a romantic relationship? You already said it doesn't end well, so your prediction is going to come true eventually, because you just predicted that. And people who don't question themselves, again, they are the human suffering love narrative. But meantime, for us, it's not, we don't go in thinking it's going to end well or not well. We go in, we're going to build a genuine relationship. Love and laughter is what is our primary interaction. And if there's splinters or ruptures, that doesn't mean it's going to end. No, it's going to be conversation. And because true love means we want each other to be happy from here, it's not selfish, because it's not with insecurity that you're doing it. It will continue to be grown up, emotionally mature people that are available, which is really beautiful. Again, so the more you grow up, to me, the more I've grown up, the more it's amazing to be in any type of genuine relationship, and a life partner is going to be, and partners, depending on how things unravel, I won't know until it happens. But the point is that doesn't scare me. It doesn't scare a person who knows that love is genuine when people know who they are. And it doesn't scare you to know that some people don't know what love is. You feel bad for those people, but then you say, wait, I shouldn't feel bad for them, because they're choosing not to go and get themselves out of what is clearly something that they can heal in our year 2024. And instead they choose to, use narratives. So again, love and laugh and learn and expand, and heartfelt conversations. It's almost a new year, so I'm thinking we have some amazing times ahead of us in general. And we'll be back with more. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good one.